Well, we're back here with tele number 2. During the production of my last song, Take It Easy, the amp settings that I chose brought to light a buzzing noise, which I hadn't really heard on prior usages and the amp settings that I've used. So what happened was that when I had my hands off any of the metal parts, there was this buzz. And while I was touching anything metal that has to do with the bridge, it would quiet up. And I decided I'm going to take a look at it and see what I might find out. Right, so I've got an extra long cable for my amp, and I'm not sure if this is being picked up by the microphone, but there's that buzz. And then no buzz at full volume. So I was using that. If I touch this, it goes a little bit lower. But I noticed that when I get to the neck, if I touch the ring, which is supposed to be grounded, which it doesn't seem to be fully grounded, but if I touch the case of the neck pickup, makes a really big difference. When I put it into parallel mode, less so. Serial mode, back to normal, high, and then neck by itself. This is something I was playing with before turning on to see generally what I might start with an attack. So if I try to jumper this out, I found out that by bringing a ground to the trim ring, it doesn't make any difference. But if I touch the case of the pickup now to ground, now if I stick my finger on it, no buzzy noise comes out of it. So I think what I'm going to need to do is check and validate the grounds between the trim ring and the bridge and this plate. I think those are pretty much going to be the same. Yeah, so these two here seem to be pretty good. The trim ring, it's got about 20 ohms, which it ought to be pretty much zero. And that case. So these are noiseless pickups, right? These are the Neovin noiseless pickups from GFS. So when I installed the 4-way switch, I think, and I also didn't pay attention to this on the other two guitars. Tele 1 has Neovins, vintage, slightly less hot than this bridge pickup. And Tele 3, the cream vintage, has little punchers. Now I was playing with little puncher pickups on the song Take It Easy, not knowing which guitar I was going to play with. This one had the ending tone that I was looking for, but I did notice that the little punchers had a buzz, and if I touched the hot rails on the pickup at the neck, I was getting a similar increase in buzz. So there might be something here where I need to do some additional grounding, or I've grounded something wrong. I'm not sure which it is, but I think it's additional. So I'm going to take a look at that and see where it goes. Okay, so I've opened this up and took a look inside, and I found that the grounds between the control panel and the bridge excuse me, are good because they're hardwired. Inside the cavities, I used some copper shielding wire, which is not fully copper shielded because these are noiseless pickups. But I used them to be able to connect grounds to grounds in between the two cavities. And the wire that I put between them, I stuck underneath the copper wire, I should say the copper shielding, in this cavity, and with time it lifted, and the adhesive underneath there was just sitting around the wire and not really grounding it. So that's one main issue I have to resolve. And then I found that the tabs on the sides of these pickups, see if we can get that a little closer. The tab on the side of the cover has two tabs, which I also may need to ground. There was something in the information about when I was installing the four-way switch that I had to lift the ground off of this cover because of the way the ground from this pickup is actually not on ground. It becomes a signal in order to be able to put this in position 2 in order to get the series set up parallel and then bridge only. So first thing I'm going to do is repair the ground between the two cavities and see what difference that makes. I'm going to try to solder that in this time, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll get back to you in the next part. So I've switched to my handheld phone to try to give you a look at what I've done here. Trying to get that wire out. Okay, so my hand out of the way. Inside the cavity, focus, the copper shielding, there you go. The copper shielding needed to be connected by that skinny 22-inch 22 gauge wire going to the control cavity, and then this pickup cover right here needed to be grounded. So I grounded it to that. Now the copper shielding comes up and it's under the lip of the trim ring, so that the trim ring is also grounded when it's installed, and the pickup is completely floating from the ground unless this little wire was there. This just barely fits in there now. Boom. And I've got really good grounding between here and the cavity, control panel, and this. They're all zeroed out. And now, don't know if we'll be able to hear this. Turn this up. There is a buzz from the setting, and it's not even screwed down yet over here. But now if I touch this, absolutely nothing. I am getting some sound there because it's in parallel mode, and back in bridge only. No buzzing when I touch that cover. That's good. Parallel mode mutes it. I get some buzzing back from the amp settings, and then in the neck only, no added noise when I touch anything. So that was what the objective was. And everything still works from a pickup point of view. So I'm going to clean all this stuff up. I'm going to have to do some work on my frets while I've got them off. Give them a little bit of a polishing. Clean off the fingerboard, clean off the body, and polish it up, and then I'm going to put some new strings on it, and she should be good to go. Alright, it's back together. It's cleaned up. Let's see if we can get a shine in there. Oh, the light. Anyway, I've polished the frets, cleaned the fretboard. And a couple of high frets down here, just minorly high. so I kind of crowned them off and repolished everything up there. So okay, so now it's time for strings. A little bit earlier when I was working with this pickup and trying to get it in the hole, I kind of lost my train of thought of what I was saying about when I was originally building this thing. Well, actually not this one, but the tele number 1. When I was doing research about installing a 4-way switch where you lift this ground from the pickup and it actually is up, so that you can actually get the series here to be able to put them in series. So the ground from this pickup is not actually grounded. But I did read something somewhere that said you need to put a ground, make sure that the cover of this thing is grounded as well on the neck pickup. So bring that to ground, and because they were noiseless pickups, I figured, well, I don't need to do that because that's for non-noiseless pickups. And I haven't experienced it on tele number 1 as of yet, but I am going to go back and check it, and if it needs this, I'm going to do the same thing. But I did do something on tele number 1 which I didn't do on this one, which is I fully shielded all the cavities and connected them, which may have made the difference. I don't really know. This neck pickup is exactly the same as the one on tele 1, and this one is what they call hard vintage, which is just a little bit hotter than the one on tele 1. So originally I had the 3-switch in this from the previous video you saw when I built it, and then I decided to change it to the 4-way because I just like that little extra drive I get from the series. Well, it's all back together and it's sounding really good. You want to play? Yes. Oh. Need some practice, bud. Yeah. So I just wanted to go over what was happening is that now I'm not touching anything. The buzz is like 4 times less than it was before. Are you playing with that? And when I touch the neck pickup now, boom, just what I wanted, complete indifference to me touching it anywhere. If I touch the bridge plate, it still quiets down the tiny little bit of buzz, and I think it's because the pickups are probably a slightly bit microphonic. And when I get close to the computer, which is right in front of me, it picks up a shh noise from the radio waves coming off of the computer. So what I'm emulating is a Fender 65 Princeton amp. I'm going to try this on the other ones, as I said, on the other guitars to make sure it needs the same fix. This is really good. And I have a post reverb, post gain, and a small post delay on the amp, and it seems to be doing okay. Give it a little go. So I think it's almost sounding a little bit better than it did when I recorded it. But anyway, the other one is done now, and just wanted to show the end of the fix. Every time I record something, I get dinged with copyrighted content on my channel, and the videos get monetized by the publishing companies. So they end up adding commercials into my videos, which I have chosen not to monetize, but because they're dinging me with copyrighted material, they have the right to monetize it, and therefore I get to keep it on the channel. So there you go, a little bit of background. So I guess we'll call this part a success. Thanks for watching.